Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new live edition of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and as always, we are truly grateful to have you with us tonight, especially after we've been away for a couple of weeks. For the purpose of this episode tonight, until there's a cure, we're diving into a critical conversation, one that far too many have stopped having. We're talking about the state of HIV and AIDS in our country today. Why aren't more people talking about prevention? Why, with no cure in sight, are so many still choosing not to protect themselves? And perhaps most troubling to me is, why has this epidemic, which continues to impact communities across the nation, especially Black and Brown communities, gone quiet in our national dialogue? So to help us explore these urgent questions, we are joined by Marco Mays from Until There's a Cure, a national organization dedicated to eradicating HIV and AIDS through education, awareness, and action. We're honored to have him with us tonight. And, we're honored truly, again, to have you guys with us as well. But I want to share a little bit more about AIDS and HIV and why we're having this conversation. Years of American-led investments into HIV/AIDS programs has reduced the number of people killed by the disease to the lowest levels seen in more than 3 decades, and provided life-saving medicines for some of the world's most vulnerable. And truly, I know, because I was at the forefront of AIDS and HIV, and I know that people are living longer with the programs and medications and whatnot that we have in place. But in the last 6 months, with sudden withdrawal of U.S. money, has caused a systemic shock. UN officials warn, adding that if the funding isn't replaced, it could lead to more than 4 million AIDS-related deaths and 6 million more HIV infections by 2029. A new UN AIDS report released Thursday said that the funding losses have already destabilized supply chains, led to the closure of health facilities, left thousands of health clinics without staff, set back prevention programs, disrupted HIV testing efforts, and forced many community organizations to reduce or halt their HIV activities. It also said that it feared other major donors scaled back their support, reversing decades of progress against AIDS worldwide, and that the strong multilateral cooperation is in jeopardy because of wars, geopolitical shifts, and climate change. I'm telling you, it's real. The epidemic is on the rise. And so again, welcome to the show tonight. We're so happy that you're here to talk with us about this important matter that we're going to discuss tonight. I got to share with you all also, I got a new word. And, when I get a new word, sometimes I just want to share it with you guys. And so first, have you ever walked into the grocery store and picked up, your usual cereal box or chips or detergent and thought, wait, hold on. Wasn't this bigger before? Well, you're not imagining things. Welcome to the world of sneakflation. That's my new word. Sneakflation, sometimes called shrinkflation, which is sneakflation is shrinkflation's shady cousin. Is when companies reduce the size or quality of a product but keep the price the same. Or worse, they raise the price and give you less. But listen, you're paying more but getting less, and most of the time you don't even notice it. That's the sneak in sneakflation. This isn't just in snack aisles. It's showing up in everything from toilet paper rolls to your favorite ice cream. Family size now only feeds 2. The bag looks full, but it's mostly air. And let's talk about fast food. For those of you who eat fast food, the burgers are smaller, the fries are fewer, but the combo meal costs more than it did. So who does this really hit the hardest? Everyday consumers like you, especially working families, seniors on fixed income, and younger folks trying to stretch every dollar when they're not trying to buy expensive tennis shoes. I digress. But when budgets are already tight, these hidden cuts feel like a betrayal. And unlike regular inflation, sneakflation hides in plain sight until your pantry, your wallet, and your patience are all empty. So the next time something feels off when you get to that checkout line with your wallet, it probably is. Sneakflation is real, and it's quietly eating away at the value we thought we were getting. All right, that was my word of the week, sneakflation, everybody. Thank you all for joining the show. And I'm going to say hi to everybody. But, I don't do what I do without these two guys, that are with me every week. And I do miss them. So if you all are ready, let's get on with the chat.
Good afternoon, good evening, good early evening.
Good afternoon. Oh, he's so formal today. Look at him. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Sean.
Good evening.
How you guys doing tonight?
Well, it's Friday, so I'm good. Good, thank you. Sneakflation, shrinkflation. That's
Shrink. That's my word for the week as I looked at my wallet.
It's very
yeah, and I thought, you know what, I got to share it with the people. Speaking of the people, can we say hi to some of these folks that have just joined us so early? Joni Toole, Dr. Joni Toole, thank you for being here, Dr. Toole. I appreciate you being here. Kendall, thank you for joining us tonight. Monica, Michi, thank you all for being here tonight. And look, Dr. Toole has said something. She said, thanks to this administration, HIV/AIDS research has basically been halted entirely. And USAID has gone now and was so critical to saving lives worldwide.
Absolutely.
How about that? That's why we're here tonight. Oh, some more guys. I wasn't scrolling fast enough. George, JJ, Sean, thank you all for being here tonight.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see everybody's tuning in tonight. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's going on in the chat, fellas? What's happening?
Oh, my goodness. Hey, Sean. Hey, well, I wanted to just kind of touch base on something that's pertinent to me as a member of the Divine Nine. Many of you know the Divine Nine, the Black Greek letter organizations, fraternities, and sororities. It's kind of peak season for conventions and conclaves and so forth. And so thousands of members of these Greek letter organizations are gathering throughout the country to celebrate their organizations, to speak about issues that are important and pertinent in today's climate, and to also do service as well. And so this season alone, there have been 4 major conventions, conclaves this summer. The first of them being one that is particularly important to me. My fraternity brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity gathered in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've had their convention. Here we have Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, who is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. That is the image that we have here. The second convention this summer was actually Delta Sigma Theta. It was a very large convention, over 20,000 women here in Washington, D.C., 13 participating virtually. And again, here in DC, the men of Sigma, Phi Beta Sigma, I'm sorry, please forgive me. The men of Phi Beta Sigma had their conclave in Tampa, Florida. And finally, the members of Alpha Phi Alpha are currently having their convention, as well as the men of Sigma. They are in Philadelphia. And although the fraternities don't necessarily give honorary membership, some of the sororities do. And there have been some really, really big names that have become members of these organizations this summer. The AKAs offered 4 honorary degrees recently, and they gave theirs to Laura Coates, a lot of firsts, CNN, first Black CNN woman to host her own show. Karine Jean-Pierre, the first Black White House secretary, a press secretary. Beverly Johnson, first Black woman to ever be on the cover of Vogue magazine, is now an AKA. And Gabby Thomas, the first Ivy League athlete to win a gold medal in track. The Deltas also offered they gave 8 honorary degrees, but the ones that I think are most notable names, actress Danielle Brooks, Fawn Weaver of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, whose uncle actually taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. So that's a story. Jackie Kersey, who was a track legend, Donna Brazile, political pundit, and finally, but certainly not least, the queen, Latifah, now a member of Delta Sigma Theta. So
she just joined this week, Bobby? I'm sorry. She
made an honorary member. And I'm sorry that we weren't able to pull up a picture of it because she really looked great. as she was in her all white. And, so there's some really popular names that have become members of these Greek letter organizations that were founded many years ago to promote unity among college attending African Americans and to conduct service throughout the country. So to all of those who've been celebrating those conventions and conclaves, just want to say, keep doing good work and remember to keep our eyes on the prize.
And for those of you who don't know Bobby the way I know Bobby, he's a proud Greek. Okay, he's Kappa. Am I correct?
Kappa Psi, that's
Kappa Alpha Psi. He is. Thank you, Bobby. Because last week was red in DC. I was coming back in town. The Deltas were all on a plane, and they were loud. But and
there's one right below me in her apartment. So I'm sure somebody's down there ooh right now. So.
Well, welcome to all the the fraternities and sororities that are celebrating this year. And speaking of celebrations, which it was supposed to be every year, the ESTh Festival is held in New Orleans. And this year, I've only gone one time, and it was okay to me. But this year, a few weeks ago, when it closed, singer, songwriter, and actress Stephanie Mills shared her experience as a performer in a letter addressed to organizations following a set of interrupted by technical difficulties. I'm not going to read the whole letter, but she began by expressing gratitude for the opportunity to perform, but noted that she couldn't fully enjoy the moment or entertain the audience due to major production issues. Mm-hmm. And she said, specifically, the challenges I encountered was multifaceted and, in my view, indicative of broader organizational shortcomings. She also wrote, the scheduling and time management were severely lacking, creating a chaotic and stressful environment backstage. Mm. This organization cascaded onto the stage, impacting the flow of the event and ultimately diminishing the quality of the performances. And she sent that letter to ESTh, and I just want to write before we start talking about it what ESTh said to her. And it was on X or Twitter or whatever, IG. Mm-hmm. We hear you and we will take your feedback. Thank you for blessing us. Look forward to having you again and to supporting your tour. Glad you could kick it off with us. All love and admiration.
So they didn't deny anything that what she was saying. I heard that there were just organizational issues and that the delays obviously caused the domino effect. And entertainers that were scheduled to entertain earlier were, going into the wee hours of the morning. And some people, just were beginning to leave. Some stayed, obviously, but yeah, it was a domino effect thing. So.
Well, Sean, do you want to say anything before because I got a little point I want to push home for a minute. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I've never been to ESTh Fest, and I've always been interested in the things I heard about were, of course, that it wasn't as centered on African Americans versus the influx, if you will, of African influence on the festival. So, which I think is kind of a misnomer. I mean, but I know that was part of some of what I've heard about it.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that, first of all, I'm glad that Stephanie Mills brought it up and put it out in the public. Mm-hmm. But I want to say to all establishments, particularly African-American establishments, because, all you hear is support this Black business, support that Black business. You got to step up and be better. I am sick and tired of going to different establishments, restaurants for the most part, and they're not bringing their A game. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really trying not to make it, a Black thing, if you will. But with this whole ESTh thing, I'm sure that their programming is damaged. I mean, just from what Stephanie Mills said, this is a total shift from what she's experienced previously. Mm-hmm. So, and even with that message to her, if there were others, this is what they put on Twitter. I thought it was lame. We're talking Stephanie Mills. I thought it was a lame response. And no, they didn't deny that there were problems, but Black organizations and establishments, you got to do better. You got to do better. Just because we're in this climate and you know that people are flocking to you, don't give me some half-hatted bull crap.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about doing better, because that's basically what the president of the Republic of Liberia said to our president, Mr.
Come on now.
Okay, so as you all may be aware, last week, the president, Mr. Joseph Boakai, was visiting the White House with Mr. Donald Trump. And Mr. Trump was surprised and basically tried to compliment Mr. President Boakai on his proper and good English. Well, a lot of folks back in Liberia found that to be insulting because, as you all know, Liberia was founded by former slaves. Okay, it was established in 1822 and then became independent in 1847. And English is the official language. Now, there have been a lot of folks from Liberia commenting on this incident, but Mr. Boakai made a statement on Facebook, and I thought it was very, very interesting. It's probably too long for me to read to you all, but if you don't mind, I want to read this one paragraph, 2 sentences that he wrote on Facebook regarding his experience with Mr. Donald Trump. He said, basically, I recognize that between bombing Iran and sending troops to Home Depot, President Trump is a busy man, so these English lessons can be scheduled at his convenience. Also, if he has friends who might benefit from such instruction, I would be happy to include them in our classes. Margaret Taylor Greene and Tommy Tuberville come to mind. I cannot promise you that I will be able to teach President Trump to speak English as fluently as a Liberian, but perhaps I can teach him once and for all what the word tariff means. With best regards, President Joseph Boakai.
And that is what we call a read.
A big read.
A big read.
A big read.
I am stymied by this. I have the experience of learning a lot about Liberian, because those of you who've known me for a while know that my ex-partner of 18 years is Liberian. And so I've had the pleasure of really being exposed to a lot of Liberian culture and experiences and food and all of those things. And the fact that the president of the United States of America was unaware that English is the first language of this country, as Sean pointed out, that was originally established by relocating Americans who saw themselves returning back to the continent of all of our origin, is disheartening. And at one point I thought, well, someone's head should roll, because I'm sure someone on his team should have told him that. But then I thought about who we were talking about, and I was like, I bet you someone did tell him, or they did provide that,
or not,
but he didn't read it.
Yeah,
because we know he doesn't read things that are given to him.
He just didn't care. He just has lots of
that there as well.
Yeah, he assumes so many false things about so many countries around the world, and this was a perfect example of assuming that all countries in Africa
couldn't speak English. First of all,
English, yeah. But I'm not, yeah, and you know what? I'm not surprised, because I talked to a young man a few months ago who was a MAGA wearing young man, and he literally had the nerve to say to me that in regards to slaves in this country, he says, well, white folks taught slaves how to read. And I'm thinking, okay, but they had their own language and their own skills. So basically they were bilingual. So they were actually better than the white people that were already here.
I don't advocate violence, but I wish you had some baby powder on your hand when he said it to you, Sean. That I'm just going to say that's what I'm going to say. Let me. I wish you had a smitten of baby powder on your hand when he said it. I want to say, Sean said that he went to the to Essence and he saw Maxwell. He was good. Dr. Toole said that Lauryn Hill played to a nearly empty room at 2 a.m. Welcome, Derwin, to the show, my brother. Good to see you here. And Dr. Toole said that, I swear Trump is so ignorant that he doesn't even know the history of Liberia or the fact that English is the main language of Liberia. It was mortifying and embarrassing.
Yep.
Tell me about it. I totally echo you. And Michi said, a well-deserved read. How about that? And Darren, welcome, Darren. Darren Henderson is here tonight. And, you know, guys, it is just absolutely, I'm not even shocked by some of the things that happen in that administration these days. And when certain things happen to other people that are, I think, of that persuasion, I sometimes get a big chuckle out of it. And this last piece I want to share with you all is about Andy Bryan, the CEO tech chief who was busted with his girlfriend, who is the HR chief, Kristen Kabat, at a Coldplay concert when their image ended up on the Jumbotron, and he is now under scrutiny after being caught by the Jumbotron at that concert while romantically embracing one of his employees. The footage, which went viral on yesterday, shows him and the firm's chief people's officer tightly embracing one another to awkwardly dash out of the frame. Yep. Both were reportedly married with kids, all.
I think this is more common than people realize.
Oh, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
And I think it's more common within, not to get political, I think it's actually more common within the Republican Party or people who are Republicans versus those who are probably more progressive and liberal.
It just made me happy to see, because his life now is actually, well, I don't know. I don't know. He could be married to a woman who is okay with that.
I have a different take on it, and only because it just so happens that I know someone who works with his wife.
Shut up. Come on.
I know someone who works directly with his wife at the school she works at in Massachusetts. They are that because that concert happened in Boston. And a friend of mine literally was saying to me that it has been devastating for her to bear the public humiliation of her husband's actions, as well as their youngest child just graduated from that school. And he was like saying it's such a blessing that he does not have to come back to that school where everybody knows him and who he is and who his mother is and would have to deal with that. So he at least is going off to college. And some people may not know, there's not that automatic association. But because the child's mother worked at the school and then he just graduated from the school. So for me, I just feel like, again, here is these other people are being so deeply impacted by his indiscretion that like, it's one thing for him to be ridiculed because what he did was, inappropriate. What they did was inappropriate. But for me, it's just hard hearing that these children and the wife who had nothing to do with that are also just really kind of going through it in such a public way. Yeah.
She's going to get PAID exclamation point on that.
Yeah. When she's in court, she goes like, just roll tape. That's
and
you all see it, so just roll tape.
He's blaming Coldplay. Right. He's blaming Coldplay for his indiscretion. Right.
Give me my money. Give me my money.
But before we move on, there's someone on here who we have not said hello to. Darren Wright is here. He is here supporting his friend, our special guest, Marco Mays. So thank you for being here tonight. Yeah. I saw your name earlier, Darren, but I just want to make sure that I acknowledge you and welcome you to the show. And this is like the perfect segue because we are ready to introduce our special guest tonight. Yes. So, so that was a perfect segue. You guys ready? I want to introduce Marco and have this conversation.
Yes.
Let's get going.
All right. Marco is an advocate, humanitarian, empowerment speaker, author, model, and is the founder and CEO of Live Like an Icon, a consulting company specializing in personal development and events management, and the founder of the Black Cave, a peer-led group of Black same-gender loving males dedicated to better the community. Affectionately known as Sir Icon, he has established himself as a people gatherer with his communication style and relationship building skill to relate to the grassroots needs of any situation. Marco seamlessly intersects his love of the arts, fashion, food, entertainment, travel, friends, and family with his passion for humanitarianism. Marco is a confident and driven community leader with over 20 years of experience in the HIV/AIDS advocacy field. As a tireless advocate, Marco works to destigmatize HIV, educate communities, and promote sexual health. Marco is a testament to the power of confidence, both inside and out, as a force for positive change in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the He Said stage, Mr. Marco Mays.
Oh, wow. Well, you don't hear that often read outside, right? So, but thank you.
No pressure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, thank you for giving us something to read. Okay, so about that. Okay,
and a very nice headshot too.
How you doing? Thank you for being here, Marco. Really appreciate you being here for this discussion. It is very important, and so I'm going to go ahead and kick off our first question with you. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And for those who may not be familiar, can you briefly share the mission of Until There's a Cure and how the organization is working to combat the HIV/AIDS epidemic today, Marco?
Oh, cool. So Until There's a Cure, we were established back in, I think, late 80s, early 90s. And the main mission of this nonprofit organization is to stay focused on eradicating HIV/AIDS in our community. Of course, the missions of HIV/AIDS in the community, that's the biggest piece. How we do that, we usually do that from three different folds. One could be from basically the pure support of individuals living with HIV/AIDS. That could be from we do some financial support, we do some service supports. We also do funding programs. And that's one of our most known pieces, our funding program. Selling jewelry is usually the biggest piece of our funding programs, and to actually go directly to helping eradicate, again, the transmission of HIV in the system. And basically supporting our advocates. We try to support from multiple platforms. That could be from incarceration. We have volunteers, we have interns. That could be from those biggest pieces. So that's the biggest way we usually try to work and help fight the end HIV/AIDS.
Thank you.
Now, Marco, that's wonderful. And again, welcome and thank you, and great to meet you. So let me ask you this. How did you become involved with the organization?
Oh, wow. Almost the same way I came involved with you guys. But someone told somebody about Marco. And they said, hey, I want to find out more. Truth be told, the executive director, Nora, was supposed to come to Montgomery. I live in Montgomery, Alabama. She was supposed to come to Montgomery to support one of the organizations here to do like vending table at one of the conferences. And I think she fractured either her hand or either her foot, one of the two, but she wasn't able to come. And one of the community coordinators for the organization stated to her, she said, I got the perfect guy that could handle your vending table. And she was like, well, you sure? And he was like, yes. So he called me and I was like, okay. I said, you know what? I'll call him brother. I said, yeah, brother, I'll do it for you. No big issue. And I did it. And that was the whole thing. So the next thing I knew, at the very next conference, the same conference like a year later, Nora was sitting directly across from me, but she was vetting me through the whole time frame of me becoming a part of Until They're Secure. And I was having like many interviews and I didn't even know it, to be honest. I just thought people were talking to me, but I was being vetted. And that's literally how I became part of it. And I've been a part now. We're going on almost 15, 16 years now. So
that's amazing. I kind of love that they were doing that undercover vetting and really get to see a very natural way. I really love that. Well, I want to say thank you also to you being here, someone who's been touched personally by HIV and AIDS, losing my only younger sister to the disease. So it is certainly something that has a very personal significance for me as well. But and thank you for sharing about the organization. And I'm kind of curious as to, until there's a cure, how does it need your help, your specific help?
Like my specific help or your specific help?
Well, yours first and then ours. How's that?
Well, mine's first. My story, I'm openly Black, same gender loving male living with HIV since 1996. That is my full advocate spiel. And I had to come to terms with that myself. So a lot of people really, really deal with the fact of not being able to touch that publicly and walk in their truth publicly. But after I went through my phases, there was a phase where, okay, hey, you know what? Nobody's going to ever take me back to darkness anymore. I have to walk in my truth and who I am as a person. And when I did that, I was like, whoa, I started seeing how many voices did not have voices. And I'm very transparent and very open about a lot of stuff about Marco. And I'm very transparent about my health and making sure if it can help me, I always wanted to make sure it could help someone else. One of the things someone mentioned to me one day, I was a people gatherer. And I really, really lived that. I think that is my piece of being here on earth. And being that people gatherer, I try to use that platform in every place that I'm super, super passionate about. And I think that's what I bring to the table for Until They're Secure. When I tell you, Nora and I, we share Love and Nutty Buddies, you know, not a plug for Little Debbie's, but we share Nutty Buddies. So it's just that connection.
You were so
we do the same work, right? It's like, but she's on one coast and I'm on another coast. So that's what I feel I bring. And that's why Until They're Secure need my help. The reason we need your help is because, again, much what I was just saying, stigma and lack of education are two of the biggest issues that we still struggle with. And like I said, this has been around for late 80s, early 90s, as we know, quote unquote. And so, but stigma and lack of education in the community and for individuals, especially around sexual health prevention, has been the biggest and the most traumatic thing to deal with as an organization. So that's why we need people to help. And of course, not just anybody. We want people to come that's going to love, that's going to have compassion, that really want to help, because HIV affects everyone, not just people living with HIV. It affects everyone because you can't go around. If you must be living on a rock if you've been walking around and not heard a story or seen a movie or anything about HIV. If you have not seen anything about HIV. But it affects us all. So that means it must be a community-driven piece, and that's why we need the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, thank you. And you kind of touched on some of this in the first question that I want to ask you about now, and that is, can you share some of the key programs offered by Until They're Secure, such as Word Challenge and Story Sphere that people should know about?
Okay, cool. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Sean, but
he's ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
I haven't had a nutty buddy in years.
Oh, when you said nutty buddy, I said I was looking to see, do I have one up in the cabinet? Okay. You said that thing. I was like, that sounds like it should be up in my cabinet. Okay,
just don't let it get stale. And Sean, send me your address. I'll send you a box. But to answer your question, two of those programs that you mentioned was we work with, I don't know if you know, most individuals may know or may not know, Monica Johnson. She became, she was interviewed in People magazine. And in that story, she told about her baby. I think his name is Maurice, if I'm not mistaken. But Monica Johnson is based out of Louisiana. And Black African-American female that was diagnosed with HIV. And at the time, the reason her baby became he was also diagnosed with HIV as well. And he passed away at 3. So one of the things that Monica does, she's very strong about community. She's very strong about housing. She's very strong about making sure we educate and advocate about HIV. So Monica was the perfect match to ethics, morals, mission, perspectives, everything for Until They're Secure. So when she did a book, her organization is called Heroes LA, um, Louisiana, and you can go and find her information. But she wrote a book. So one of our shopping programs, we have to go into Until They're Secure to buy jewelry that could help designated areas. So she wrote a book, and actually, this is it right here.
Perfect.
Yes, right. So
Can you
so
put
we
that? Can
partner
you put
with
that back up again?
organizations, right?
He wants to back up.
Marco, put that back up again, please.
My bad.
I need a
Sorry,
follow-up.
Monica.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
For lack of
Marco,
knowledge.
you will tell us
Yes.
how we can obtain that book, correct?
Oh yes, you can go to Until They're Secure. It's in one of the items you can purchase off our shopping cart.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
For
Okay.
lack of knowledge.
All right. And I think we have the email address.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the website address that we can put up also so that people can go to your webpage. Yes.
That was impressive product placement. I want you to know that.
My background is PR. I got you. But yes, I mean, again, Sean, it's like matching up and mirroring to organizations, entities, people, again, that have that love and that compassion that really, really can come to the table and let's do some work in eradicating the transmission of HIV in this community. And that's what we really, really do. So that really speaks more to the next program that you mentioned about Story Spear. Mm-hmm. So Story Spear is basically, it lives right on that same website, untiltheres.org. It lives on that website. It is our storytelling platform to where anybody could come on and talk about how HIV, AIDS has affected their life, or even if they have a thought about it. You don't necessarily have to be living with HIV. It could be in how it affected you. It could be how you felt in watching a TV commercial or movie. Mm-hmm. Storytelling is I believe storytelling is the most strongest platform because you get to tell your voice yourself out of your own mouth that's coming from your own thoughts. So, but if we all are talking about it, it becomes very, very common knowledge in a household versus knowledge in a household that only comes up when, quote unquote, a traumatic incident happened about an infection. Right. So, but you'll be hearing way, way, way more about Story Spear because I think I've taken it under my envelope to, take this across the country. I want to come do a Story Spear here, a Story Spear there. And basically all it is, again, is encompassed right inside the website. All you have to do is click and record. You can do it from your phone. And another lovely side is you don't have to record anything. You can type it in and it's a place for that as well. Nice. So again, that is one of I wanted to put focus on those two programs. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, I think for those type of programs, again, the love, the compassion, to want to eradicate is the biggest thing for us, Sean.
Well, Marco, you have mentioned it, and I've been talking to everybody about it. And actually, it is also what attracted me to you. If you remember, I want to talk about the bracelet and the proceeds. How are the proceeds allocated from the purchase of the bracelets? And I think they're just absolutely incredible. And I know we have some beautiful pictures of it. But yeah, this bracelet is just incredible. Mm-hmm.
Yes. We can talk about the bracelet.
Again, product placement. Look at that.
Product placement, baby. Product placement. So the bracelet, it was, it was created, the history of the bracelet a little bit is it was created by two mothers that were concerned about how HIV was going to affect their kids. And basically it was commissioned and we put it on the map. It comes in multiple arrays of metals, some silver, silver plated. We have gold, we have bronze, we have rose gold, and all of those bracelets, not just the bracelet, I want to add this, not just the bracelet, but roughly about 90% So say, for instance, if you bought the bracelet, it was $20. So 90% of that $20, we effectively put back into going to our mission.
Okay.
That is how effective we have been with this. And now we have some that's in there, some special shopping cart pieces that are like 80%. And then, but if you start getting down to some of the specialized pieces, like pieces from like villages in Guyana or places in Africa, those go a lot of times a little bit higher, but it goes directly to the village to help them eradicate or go and help them with HIV prevention and care and awareness.
So Marco, you commission designers, if you will. Is that how it works? You commission designers to create these bracelets?
Well, that one.
Okay.
That is our signature bracelet. The image that you have up, that is our signature bracelet. And most people know it as the AIDS bracelet. Okay. That is the signature bracelet that really kind of put us on the map, because we were the only organization that was selling items to help in HIV/AIDS. We were one of the first nonprofit organizations that did that. So this is the signature template of the bracelet. It just has grown. Now, the other piece where it has grown from, it was just a bracelet. Now it's earrings, it's scarves, it's books, it's grown so much. It's like we probably have over 500 plus items in our shopping cart, and each one of them does the exact same thing: raise money to help in HIV/AIDS.
That is extraordinary. I love that bracelet. It is beautiful. Again, your product placement, like there it is. and notice he's not just doing like that, people. It is placed.
Yeah, I watched Price is Right while growing up. I learned a lot.
I love it. So you spoke about Monica Johnson's book, obviously, and you held that up for us, and you've mentioned that there are many items now that are on sale, and so we're just kind of interested in hearing about alliances that Until There's a Cure has with other organizations and artisans. And so forth. Are there new ones that are in the works right now?
Oh gosh, yes. Matter of fact, the newest one is Southern AIDS Coalition. Basically, same concept, Alvin, where we were talking about commissioning certain individuals to do certain products. So basically, the products that were created for Southern AIDS Coalition go directly to artists, Southern AIDS Coalition and artists in Africa. Is a specific area. And for them, it's 80% of the proceeds. So it's maybe like, I think it's 3 bracelets and earrings and some other items. It's like 5 items that were created specifically for Southern AIDS Coalition. And those items were created with the colors from the logo and the marketing and branding of Southern AIDS Coalition. So they're very specific, but again, it is one of those main pieces to where we were saying that connection to programs and connection to getting connected to the individuals in the community that have the passion and the drive and that have worked diligently to help in HIV/AIDS. The Southern AIDS Coalition does some really amazing work. And we thought, again, it was just a marriage made in heaven to do it. So we promoted tremendously at every one of our conferences. I promoted tremendously at every one of my story spheres. It's interesting you say, I want to go back a little bit. We were talking about Wear the Bracelet. One of the things we have going on right now is Wear Until Change. So it's basically a bracelet campaign. And it's not really a program. It's more like a campaign to where we're getting people go buy this bracelet, wear it. And then we also give you the marketing. We give you like 7 days marketing, the content, the hashtags, everything to do. We just ask you to post Wear wear until change. And if you have a bracelet, purchase a bracelet, and you can also create pictures from that. So you can really get self-involved with that if you really want to. So.
Oh my God, it's as if you knew my next question was going to be how we, we talked about organizations and institutions and collaborations and so forth. And we did touch a little bit early on the need for individuals to become involved. And so that question was going to be like, how can individuals become involved in addition to buying bracelets, posting, social media and so forth? Are there other ways that individuals can support this extremely important effort?
Yes, and I'm going to upsell our website again. Go to until.org, and because you can, like I said, you can get it from a personal perspective, you can get from an organizational perspective, you can get from like we have sports teams, and I think in San Francisco, one of the baseball teams, they do a fundraiser for us each year, and the whole team wears a bracelet. And so like, again, it's like, and then we also have one of the larger campaigns that we did was like with some of the Olympians that won won medals, they did a bracelet challenge. That's why I'm so used to doing it like this, because in those pictures, you'll see them doing this.
I'm feeling an exchange coming about.
Yes, there you go. So, so you can become a volunteer. We have internships. Matter of fact, we have such a great internship program. We have a YouTube channel dedicated directly to them that they're looking for people to interview, and that could be just people in the community, organizational wise, or it just could be someone in general. How did HIV affect your life, or what are your thoughts on it? Because, particularly in the climate that we're in right now, it's really, really interesting to get people's perspective. And that's why I'm really pushing our Story Spirit program, because again, my background is public relations, but I do understand the power in people talking, because it gets out. And we hold a lot of stuff in. So if we get it out and can talk in spaces that we feel safe, that makes everything a little bit easier to deal with. So
absolutely. Thank you so much. And listeners are chiming in, so people are wanting to get that bracelet. So
please go to the website until.org. We're going to switch gears a little bit, because we want to get a little personal with you. Thank you for sharing all the information about until there's a cure.org. But Marco, I want to read some statistics, and then we're going to go into some, get your personal opinion on a couple of questions that we have here about the state of HIV and AIDS. First of all, according to the global HIV snapshot, in 2023, 39 million people were living with AIDS. New infections, 1.3 million globally in 2022, a significant drop, though, because we had all the programs in place, to 2.1 million in 2010. AIDS-related deaths in 2023 was 630,000, down 69% from the 2004 peak and 51% from 2010. But according to the UNAIDS reports target, 250,000 annual deaths because of the state of our political climate. By 2025, there will be 250,000 deaths, and the current figure is still over twice that. So I want to move into, and one last thing. The high-risk groups right now are young women 15 to 24 years old in Eastern and Southern Africa. And the adolescent girls and young women account for 62% of new infections, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that's the statistics that I recently got. I was going to go to CDC, but I don't know who's running it right now. So I went global. I was like, we're not even going to mess with it. So we got a couple of questions that we want to ask you before we let you go.
Yeah, let me start, Alvin, with the next question, if you don't mind. So Marco, in your view, what is the current state of HIV/AIDS in the U.S., particularly in communities that have been historically underserved and overlooked?
Y'all gonna put me on the spot. Okay, well, let's see here. Particularly being an individual, again, that live in the Bible Belt, again, being the Black same gender loving male, also being a Black same gender loving male living with HIV. I'm going to also add just being a Black male. All of that, circles around, a lot of this model that most of the, I call them organizational, but like the doctor offices and most of the medical, there's this model circle that we want to treat the whole person, right? Each one of those pieces is a social health determinant. That could be financial, that could be education, that could be any one of them, but each one of them is a social health determinant. And actually could be health as well. And when I look at it, when I personally changed my focus directly to Black same gender loving males in the South, because I just saw it just didn't exist for me. And it was a goal to help me first. And then that's when I realized it needs to help other people in my community. And that's how it really drove my advocacy. So for me, the current state of HIV, particularly in communities that have the most, let's see, the best word, it's like most affected by, or it's like the most affected by HIV/AIDS. Of course, with everything, it's always going to be in particular top of the line. It's going to be African American or Black community, or BIPOC, or people of color with indigenous. So we always are at the top of those numbers of having the most disparities is the word I was looking for. They have the most disparities. So with the current stuff going on with the numbers, like you were saying with Alvin, it's like it really is very interesting for people still think that we're back in the 80s and 90s, that this just affects white gay males and it doesn't affect anyone else. So it's unfortunate I still run into having to educate about stuff like that, but we do have it. And I think that view is where we are still. We still have a lot of work to do. We've done a lot of work in this, but we still have a lot of work to do because, again, that stigma, lack of education is what stops everything a lot of times.
Got it. Thank you.
You mentioned a great deal of work that still needs to be done, and certainly in terms of education and removing stigma, et cetera. And so it raises the question, obviously, the last 8 months or so of the political climate and social climate certainly calls into question things like funding that would support organizations, healthcare policy changes, and services. Can you speak at all to what this last 8-9 months, the impact that it's had on your ability to kind of both raise awareness, but also funding as well?
Yeah. So many organizations out there, in a sense of, I don't know, specific I can be quoted on, but with the whole DEI, the whole changes of when that order came across and those changes of DEI perspectives and objectives, it changed language. And that's the most important thing. And a lot of time language is what drives stigma because the misuse or saying things a certain way, oh, he got AIDS, or rather than saying living with HIV, those language can be very devastating.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, when those orders came across, there was a lot of language that had to change in order for organizations to remain open. And a lot of people just didn't have the funds. I know there are some organizations that just do not exist anymore. I know there are some organizations that had the money to go in and do the auditing, to change all of their documentation, their mission, their objectives, to language like male, female, had to take gay out. It was language played a huge piece.
Yes.
And I have to say, I would say I can't say it didn't affect us at Until They're Secure, because it's hard to, say, oh my God, the world is affected by lollipop, and then lollipop is actually HIV, and we can't say it, and then we can't say who the actual demographic is affecting.
Right.
when we know it. So we can't call, like I said, our BIPOC or black and brown individuals. We can't call them something else if this individuals is happening. If they're same gender loving, we have to actually say same gender loving. We can't say, oh, they're heterosexual, because they're not, and that's not the number. So it would completely be different from the numbers, like we say CDC or the charts. If like those numbers wouldn't match up, So it really does. It impacted everybody. That's why we say this is an everyday thing. But one of the lovely things I do love about Until There's a Cure, like we have established this organization as being an organization to raise money to help eradicate it. So our organization thrives a lot on individuals helping us to raise money. And that could be for one of our programs, that could be for different help. Like I said, there's an incarceration piece. And so it's all these other entities that people can still help, but it's just a matter of getting people to know that they still can help, with such dark times, because there's still a lot of dark times. There's been some saves in there, there's been some wins in there, but we still have, like I said before, Bobby, we still have a lot of work to undo or make sure we don't go back to the dark ages, because that's really, on a personal standpoint, and saying that's really where, actions like what is being done is trying to take us back to day one.
Marco,
and it's day one.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm going to have to slip in here because we got a couple of minutes. I got two more questions for you real quick. First of all, let me ask you real quick, if you can. There's often a disconnect between the public perception and the current realities of living with HIV. What are some of the biggest misconceptions you encounter, and how does Until There's a Cure work to challenge those misconceptions or that misconception?
So I think the biggest challenge about the disconnection is, again, the propaganda from early HIV/AIDS, which everybody thought was AIDS, is a death sentence or whatever the case. We're still dealing with stuff of that nature. So that's the largest disconnect. And that's one of the reasons why I really try to use my voice to be the voice for people who don't have a voice. Yes, I'm living with HIV, but I'm thriving with HIV, so that piece. And I think that's that biggest disconnection for people. People don't understand that people are able to thrive with HIV. They're not dying from HIV anymore.
No, I certainly believe that it is the ignorance from HIV that kills people, not the disease itself, if you're managing your health. That's been one of my things. And before we let you go, Marco, I do have one more question for you. As we look to the future, what can individuals, especially from the Black and Brown community, do to protect themselves, educate others, and support the ongoing fight against AIDS and HIV?
The biggest thing I think people should do, especially people of color, Black and Brown, and I'll expand this out to everybody: educate, educate yourself about your sexual community and sexual health and sexual quote unquote imagination, and learn about it for yourself, not from someone else. Learn about it about yourself. And then you'll be able to establish what you need to, a ground rule of what you can do in your comfort level.
Well, Marco, let me go right now and say thank you for allowing Sean, Bobby, and I to have this conversation with you tonight. This is how we do it. And I'm just so glad that you were here and introduced us to Until There's a Cure. And I'm going to speak personally and say that I'm going to support the organization as best I can. And I'm glad that I got a new brother here, that I've met. But thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back. Can't believe it's the end of July, and we're going to get newsy with you guys. I know that is itching, Sean. We're going to get newsy with you guys because there's so much stuff out there that we want to share with you, at least from our point of view. And for our words of the week, thanks to Bobby, this is a beautiful day to be your own biggest fan. You are the only person who knows every detail of the path you took to make it this far. And Bobby, I love that. I promise you, I swear by that. But I want to thank everybody who joined the call tonight, who joined the show tonight, and for your input, your kind words. Thank you. If you're friends of Marco,
friends of Marco,
tell a friend about the show. Please share the show with them. But thank you, Marco, for blessing us tonight. And
amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, so until next week, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
I feel a story sphere coming on. I feel a story sphere. I feel it.
Have a good night. Buy the bracelet.
Oh, so you got
Look at that.
How do you do that?
He's got it that way.
Y'all have a good night. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hey,